Hello and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things I personally find intriguing enough for me to bring to you. The source of this information comes from the smart device application On This Day. The music in the background is Free Fall by Audioscribe, which I found on the YouTube channel No Copyright Sounds, aka NCS. For links to the app, music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar. Now, let's get on with the show, shall we? Today is Tuesday, aka Tuesday, August 23rd, 2016. In 2011, Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown after the National Transitional Council forces took control of the Bab al-Aziza compound during the Libyan Civil War. Also in 2011, a magnitude 5.8 earthquake occurred in Virginia and caused an estimated $200 to $300 million in damages to monuments and structures in Washington, D.C. In 2007, the skeletal remains of Russia's last royal family members, consisting of Alexei Nikolaevich Tsarevich of Russia and his sister, Grand Duchess Anastasia, were discovered near Yekaterinburg, Russia. In 1996, Osama bin Laden issued a message entitled A Declaration of War against the United States citizens occupying the land of the two holy places. In 1994, Eugene Bullard, the only black pilot in World War I, was posthumously commissioned as second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force. A little late for that. In 1991, Tim Berners-Lee opened the World Wide Web, aka WWW, to new users, and that's why there's www before everything on the internet. In 1990, West Germany and East Germany announced that they would reunite on October 3rd. When they did, it felt so good. Also in 1990, Armenia declared independence from the Soviet Union. Also in 1990, Saddam Hussein appeared on Iraqi state television with a number of Western guests, which were actually hostages, to try to prevent the Gulf War. In 1989, 1,645 domestic airline pilots resigned after the airlines threatened to fire and sue them over a dispute. Also in 1989, during the singing revolution, 2 million people from Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania stood on the Vilnius-Tallinn Road along the Baltic Way and held hands. In 1987, the United States male basketball team lost the gold medal to the Brazilian team at the Pan American Games in Indianapolis. The final score, which was 120 to 115, triggered changes in the sport basis in the US and resulted in the Dream Team. In 1982, Bashir Gemayel was elected Lebanese president amidst the raging civil war. In 1973, a bank robbery gone wrong in Stockholm, Sweden, turned into a hostage crisis. Over the next 5 days, the hostages began to sympathize with their captors, leading to the term Stockholm Syndrome. In 1970, the Salad Bowl strike, organized by Mexican-born United States Citizen Labor Union Cesar Chavez, began, becoming the largest farm worker strike in U.S. history. In 1966, Lunar Orbiter 1 took the first photograph of Earth from orbit around the Moon. In 1948, the World Council of Churches was formed. In 1946, Ordinance Number 46 of the British military government constituted the German Länder, aka States, of Hanover and Schleswig-Holstein. In 1944, during World War II, King Michael of Romania dismissed the pro-Nazi government of Marshal Antonescu, who was arrested. Romania then switched sides from the Axis to the Allies. In 1942, during World War II, the Battle of Stalingrad began. In 1939, during World War II, Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression treaty known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. In a secret addition to this pact, the Baltic states, Finland, Romania, and Poland were divided between the two nations. In 1929, the Hebron massacre occurred during the 1929 Palestine riots, in which Arab attacks on the Jewish community in Hebron in the British Mandate of Palestine, which continued until the next day, resulted in the murder of 65 to 68 Jews and the remaining Jewish population to be forced to leave the city. In 1927, Italian anarchists Sacco and Vanzetti were executed after a lengthy and controversial trial. In 1923, Captain Lowell Smith and Lieutenant John P. Richter performed the first mid-air refueling on de Havilland DH-4B, setting an endurance flight record of 37 hours. In 1914, during World War I, Japan declared war on Germany and bombed Qingdao, China. In 1904, the automobile tire chain was patented. In 1898, the Southern Cross Expedition, the first British venture of the heroic age of Antarctic exploration, departed from London. In 1864, the Union Navy captured Fort Morgan, Alabama, thus breaking Confederate dominance of all ports in the Gulf of Mexico save for Galveston, Texas. In 1858, the Round Oak rail accident occurred in Brierley Hill in the Black Country, England. It is arguably the worst railway disaster ever in Britain. In 1839, the United Kingdom captured Hong Kong as a base as it prepared for a war with King China. The ensuing 3-year conflict would later be known as the First Opium War. In 1831, Nat Turner's slave rebellion was suppressed. In 1799, Napoleon I of France left Egypt for France en route to seize power. In 1784, Western North Carolina, now Eastern Tennessee, declared itself an independent state under the name of Franklin. However, it was not accepted into the United States and only lasted for 4 years. Even so, though, the area still fancies itself as its own state within a state. In 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, King George II delivered his proclamation of rebellion to the court of St. James's, stating that the American colonies have proceeded to a state of open and avowed rebellion. In 1305, Sir William Wallace was murdered for high treason at Smithfield in London. And in 79, Mount Vesuvius began stirring on the feast day of Vulcan, which is the Roman god of fire. How ironic! Births: Kobe Bryant, 1978, River Phoenix, 1970, KK, 1970. KK, I'll never text the same way again. And that concludes the show! Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. Don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, especially if you're playing Pokemon Go. You can also rate 5 thumbs and subscribe if you do so, please. For your dose of passive and daily, I am Xander, and you are you. Toodles.